Hey,
Yeah,
Penny.
yeah.
Hey, I know you're busy and you got a lot going on. I'm trying to figure out this Auction Academy. I've got some people that I'd like to have you meet.
Fantastic. I've got nothing but time and opportunity. Can you meet me at the gate?
I'm Rich Levene, and this is Meet Me at the Gate, where we're not just talking theory, we're tackling real-world problems head-on, driving solutions that supercharge productivity and team dynamics. Every episode is a journey towards improvement, empowering you, the manager, to lead with innovation and confidence. Join us to transform everyday roadblocks into highways for success.
Are you recruiting new cadets, Penny, for the Academy?
You know, we opened up registration at NAAA. We did a soft open actually at ARA, and it started filling up very fast. NAAA was our big rollout, and at this point, we're at 26 registered students, and we've got several auctions that are like, hold me a spot, I'm just not sure who I'm sending yet. And NAAA rolled out the Ron Hope Scholarship. Will get us another one. So we'll be full. We'll be between 30 and 35 come February next year when we start.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is, yeah. Thanks for asking. We're excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Auction Academy, I tell everybody, you got to go to Auction Academy.
Well, thank you.
So who can get
I
into
really
Auction
do.
Academy? How do I get in?
Oh, you have to be somewhat of an identified next gen or current gen leader. You're either on your leadership path already or have been identified to be the up and coming leader. But honestly, if you're an auction, NAAA membership is really the only prereq. You can be a vendor, you can be a consigner. It's open to everybody in the remarketing space at this point.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Do you have vendors in there now?
We do have vendors in there now. We've got, geez, you're going to ask me that, aren't you?
It's okay. We can cut all this out. It's okay. All you have to say is, yes, we got vendors.
Yeah,
in there.
we've got vendors for sure. Absolutely.
Do you have one named Tom that might make,
Oh, that's my go-to.
make stickers of Charlie?
Our go-to vendor in Class 8, Black Widow, Tom. Yeah, he is absolutely a joy to be around. And he brings a level of energy, which is next level leadership, right? Mm-hmm. He's on it.
Ty knows a good friend of yours, who I know as well, and her name is Kelly Kimball. And we have Kelly Kimball join our podcast every now and then. Ty, do it. Come on, give us some hearts, Ty.
Oh, yeah.
Kelly Hart.
Look at that. Kelly.
Yeah.
We love Kelly. HR Kelly.
There, we got the hearts. HR Kelly, as we refer to her on the show. So we just recently recorded an episode with her, and we got into an interesting topic. And it was promoting people that have a lot of production skills, or they're producers. Like, hey, Penny, you're really good at doing all this title work and making sure all the titles are right. So we're going to make you the office manager. Mm. And that doesn't always necessarily work out. And you can apply that to sales. You can apply it to marketing, operations, whatever you want. You have a unique program that helps these managers become leaders.
Yeah, absolutely. Just because you are doing really well in what you're currently doing doesn't mean you're ready to lead a group of 5, 10, 15 people. The Auction Academy will prepare that current and next generation leader that has been identified or recently promoted with not only those hard transactional skills, how to do the job. They clearly know how to do the job because those hard skills got them the job. But it's the soft skills, or some would say human skills, that we also incorporate into our curriculum. And that's where that leadership scope is going to come into. That hard skill gets you the job. The soft skill really allows you to grow, develop, flourish, become a true leader, and have a good day. Have fun.
That's what it's all about, having fun. If you're not having fun, you're just not having fun.
I mean,
right?
Who doesn't want to not go to work every day, right? You got to want to go. You spend so much time at work or at your auction with your people that you're leading or being led by. You want it to be a good space, a healthy space.
I agree. Well, Rich and I talk a lot about this. I go to a lot of different auctions, and I usually come in from the backside, what I like to call the backside, the gate. And you can go to an auction and you can pick up a vibe real quick. And that vibe back there is probably a good indicator of what you're going to run into when the closer you get to the front. And so we like to talk about how to have a great vibe at your auction, starting at the gate.
Yeah.
And what those things look like and how to interact with them. And a lot of times for me, of course, I always talk about transportation, but it's coming in with an attitude of kindness to, we're here not to disrupt your organization, your situation. We're just here simply to get cars. And what I've found in training my guys too is that the more you approach with that kind of an attitude, the more you get done at an auction. If that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense to me. We do auction tours every session when we're in person on location with our class groups. We do auction tours, and these auction owners or GMs, whoever is kind of making those decisions, open those doors. They allow us to meet and greet their key people. We talk about their processes. They're sharing their success stories, their failures. They get us in vans, or we walk around and we see the entire auction. So they open their doors, and you can tell, like you're saying, the minute you walk in, even if it's not sale day, you pick up on that energy, right? And that energy to me starts at the top and trickles down. And so it is laced through and through if it's not good. And you can tell. And I have yet to see that. I have yet to see that at any of the auctions that we go to, which is a benefit for us.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple auctions.
We've been to a few. Nice handful, yeah.
I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask which one's your favorite. I'm not going to do that because that's not fair. That wouldn't be fair to anybody.
I have a favorite in Baltimore. I have a favorite in Donna, Texas. I have a favorite in Rockford, Illinois. You know, I have a lot. I have a favorite in Houston.
You made the cut, Rich. Yes.
My favorites are nationwide.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You have a favorite, or maybe two per state. That's fair.
Oh, 2 or 3. Yeah.
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 That's
States
good.
are so big.
Yes, they're big.
You gotta
Texas
split it
is
up.
big. You got to have more than one. You mentioned a couple.
Huge.
You mentioned a couple of Texas.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a question for you, Penny. Do you guys do independent auctions? Do you go check those out as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. We've got the independents that we've gone to, of course, the 2 metros and Bel Air Auto Auction. Definitely did some Manheims. Yeah, no, for sure. We're definitely doing that. We did, not with this class group, but we've done Louisiana First Choice, which is now E-Block, New Orleans. So yeah, absolutely. Our biggest problem is that we do have a lot of auctions that want to open their doors to us, independents.
Yeah.
But it's just not that easy to get to them. So we kind of have to stay to a specific location that's easy to get. You know, airport is everything as far as hotel, and then the auction, and where the students can get to without too much delay. And of course, and now they're all coming to, of course, we go to DAA Northwest, the McConkey auction groups. They have us during their largest promo sale of the year, the rock and roll sale. They lay out the red carpet for us. And this is the busiest time of the year for them. And we also... The presenters for our class during that session are their staff. So they do everything for us during the biggest time of the year, being an independent auction.
When you go and meet, let's take an auction trip. So you go in an auction and you're teaching these people and you're doing Auction Academy. What can I expect as a student of Auction Academy? What's it look like for a weekend?
Like a traditional, usually so it's a 2-year commitment program. We travel once per quarter to a different location where we have a different vendor or auction host. In between those in-person sessions, we have virtual classrooms as well. This is something we adopted during COVID. Such a huge success. And depending on where our in-person session is within a quarter, it might be at the front end of the quarter, and then the next one is at the end of that quarter. So there's a lot of gap in between. So those virtuals are tying us together in between, keeping us connected and education at the forefront. So when you get on property for a traditional session, what we do is it's about 2.5, 3 days. We always open up with a welcome dinner. It's a travel day. Everybody's just on property. So we meet at a meeting room in the hotel. We have a great dinner. We're all coming together. We do try to get education right away. We've got a 5-pound bag with 10 pounds of content. We just shove it in. We'll start with a welcome dinner, fairly casual, have a speaker or two. We talk about what's going to happen over the next couple of days. Then that next morning, bright and early, eat a little breakfast if you're hungry, but then we're going to get on a bus and we're going to go to a local auction, who is our auction host. We'll get to the auction where we pre-split up into like 3 or 4 groups, depending on the auction. We are introduced to their key people. What are their auction stories? How did they start? Where are they at now? We hear a little bit about the auction, the auction's origin story. Then we split up into those pre-select groups and we go to different areas. We go to the mechanic shop, we go to recon, we go to the office, we go talk about titles. Any key area that auction really wants to highlight or show off, that's where we go. And we all rotate. And then we end up back at the middle, little Q&A. Take a group picture with the logo. Then we head back to the hotel where we have lunch, have some class session, lots of speakers. So wherever we're going, depending on where we're at, we pull from that location, all of the subject matter experts from that location, we pull them in. So Dallas, of course, we do mostly fleet lease. We've got tons of accounts there. So we've got fleet lease session, jam-packed, one after another. Consigners, 30, 40-minute slots. It's just one, like I said, one after another until about 5:30. Then we'll get on a bus again and we'll go somewhere off property, more social. But we're still training. Taking Dallas, for example, we go over to, he's a leadership speaker that talks about being elite, but not acting elite. And he's in a retired Navy SEALs. So he has this whole compound where he actually works with retired vets, usually focused on PTSD. So we go there to his compound, we have dinner. He talks a little bit about being elite, takes us through more of a social evening, and then we go back, and the next day, our third and final day, more class session, more industry.
I would love to crash your Dallas trip to go to elite leadership training. I would be all in. I'd be in that for a day.
You know what? Retired Navy SEAL Clint Bruce from Trident Response Group, he is essential for growth and being humbled. He's one of the most humble humans I've ever met, and he is a huge teddy bear.
Which is cool you bring that up, because one of the things I talk about, and I've got Ty brainwashed on this, Ty's become a disciple, is the value-based leadership. And my 4 values that I lead by are trust, hope, humility, and empathy. And you just said it, being humble, humility. That is one piece. Is there other pieces that you take through Auction Academy that obviously you're not going to use the You're Doing It Wrong book to say, hey, this is what real value-based leadership is. What else do you bring in? I mean, like, doing this stuff with the Navy SEALs is incredible. Mm-hmm. What else ties into that, or how do you guys weave into more than just, because I'm pretty sure you're not just teaching people to say, hey, this is how you run an auction. You park cars, you clean cars, you do titles. You're giving them, you mentioned earlier, the soft skills.
Exactly. We decided, we've always had a leadership component with Academy since class 1, since our beginning. But I think it was around late class 4, early class 5, where we decided we have to also incorporate like a well-rounded leader, personally to include professionals. So we went into this now thinking we have to have an emphasis on leadership skills, all different types of leadership skills for the student at every session. So we really do give about a big chunk of time to our leaderships. And some of the leadership we go through is servant leadership. We have Dr. Shan Furch of Gonzaga University come and talk about servant leadership. We have coaching and mentoring with Joe Miller of his new company that he founded, just highlighting, I think he just hit an anniversary. So he's giving those tools on how to be a coach and how to be a mentor and how to do it right. We do workplace culture, ethics, ethical training. That's actually session 1. We kind of do a syllabus. And that kind of lays the groundwork, not only how you need to be, how you have to act right back home at your auction or your company, but during the program. We're going to respect each other. We're going to be humans to each other. But we also go through conflict management, diversity and inclusion. Dr. Brittany Boone is incredible. She actually joins us in Baltimore during our Baltimore session. We do emotional intelligence, situational leadership, and foundational. So we cover we cover a lot of boxes so that we have well-rounded leadership skills taught. And you know what? The students are going to click with one more than another, or they already practice some, so they've got space to learn another way to be a leader. We try to hit it all just to make sure we're covering all of our bases.
One of the things I always tell people is go read books, go learn from different resources or different sources, however you want to put it. And there's not going to be one book is not going to be the be all for anybody. Okay, but go read a lot of different books and pick up a lot of different perspectives and build your understanding, which helps build your critical thinking skills. And then pull from each one of those that fits you, that speaks with you, that resonates with you, so you can go out and be a leader that resonates with you. And that's how I landed on my 4 values. I went through an exercise in a master's program, and I just recorded a podcast earlier with Ty was on there with Mike Browning, and he brought up courage. You know what? I never touched on courage in all mine, and he's big on servant leadership. So to get his perspective and my perspective, I would say we're both good leaders. Mike is a great leader. I'm still working on it. It's 2 different approaches, and neither one of them's wrong and neither one of them's right. You got to make it work for you.
Exactly. I think that's a part of being authentic to yourself, because that's going to show in your leadership. That's one of the things about the Academy program. Day one, during our syllabus informational conversation, we say, hey, this is more of a generalist course, right? This isn't going to speak to every single student. Every topic isn't going to relate to their day-to-day, but at some point you need to have that introduction and exposure to that, which includes leadership and all the variations of leadership. What kind of leader are you? What do you want to take and be? How do you want to be a leader? That also speaks to the leadership that we go through, and that's why we go through so many. One's going to click for you, if not more than one.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't realize that you had that much in there in that first, the leadership part of that. I learn something new every time I talk to you, Penny.
Well,
It's amazing.
Penny's full of great information. And how we talk about, you and I, Ty, have introduced you to the DISC profile, the 4 colors, red, yellow, green, and blue, DISC. And, we've got Penny with us. Penny's a diehard blue. We won't go fast, but she's blue. She's got all of her notes. She's all organized. It's all got to fit in here. So if anybody ever wanted an example of how a blue functions and works and lays it out there, right here's one. Yeah. Kelly, when she gets on as a blue, different people show up differently. Like you and Kelly, nobody can say you and Kelly are the same because you're both blue. Ty and I have a lot of red in us, but you'd never say Ty and Rich are alike. It's interesting how all those pieces come together. Yeah. And then you start, that's where I think where you're talking about some of the stuff, we're being humble.
Well, and I learned through one of those leaderships with Dave Ibarra, who does the MBS survey and all of the color coding for the students. He personalizes the training, and that helps the student understand who they are, what their color is, what that means, and how they can bring that out into the workplace and also your home, and just relate better with people. Being respectful of your color, somebody else's color. You don't need to know what their color is, but by the end of a conversation, you pretty much know what their color is, right? And so he delivers that great presentation. But I learned that, me being a blue and I like to be prepared, it's because I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. And even though I may have a weak spot, I will be damned if somebody else has to sacrifice because of that. And if I'm in charge of facilitating this training program, even though I may have a weakness somewhere, I'm going to do all the work times 2 so that they don't skip a beat, because I'm doing this for them. I definitely lean on servant leadership. I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve my industry, my companies, my students, our sponsors, all of that. I do that extra work because I know for me, that's a weak spot, so I got to step it up.
That's self-aware, right?
Yeah.
Self-awareness, and I'm under-medicated, so you know what.
Under-medicated. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
That's very good.
So you talk about self-awareness. I believe that was the aha moment for me. One of my favorite books that I've read recently, in the last 10 years, is called Surrounded by Idiots. It's written by Thomas Eriksson, who's a Swedish. He studies the behavioral sciences. His whole idea behind the book was that he was saying, like, Penny, you're an idiot. Ty, you're an idiot. He thought everybody around him was an idiot. And then one day he had an aha moment. Go, wait a second. Nobody else thinks like I do. Nobody else acts like I do. I'm the idiot. So I always refer to myself as the idiot. And that's where the self-awareness started coming in. And then having to understand, I saw, you mentioned emotional intelligence. A piece of emotional intelligence is understanding your weaknesses or your strengths or your superpower and how that may affect somebody else, whether it be negatively or positively. And I can be a red and I can be dominant, and then I can go at somebody and say, like, Ty, you got to get these cars checked in faster. But if I don't really think about, he knows he's got to get them done faster. But if I'm not aware of what I'm doing, it impacts him. And he's like, that rich guy's a jerk. How do you ever get this job? But you've got to learn how to balance those different things. And what I always try to coach people on is you're a blue. So she's a blue. So guess what I did? I brought my notes because I knew that's where she was going to be. So you got to try to meet people where they are instead of going the other way around and say, well,
that's literally wrote right here.
you need to meet me where I'm at. Right, Ty?
Yeah, that's good. I like both of you guys. Do that again one more time. Both of you bring your papers up. No, the paper. Look at that. That is so cool. I didn't get the memo.
Well,
and I didn't know that you were blue, so I'm out. I'm good. I'm safe. It's good.
See, so now you're learning different things, right? So now you've learned something, and you know that if you're going to talk to Penny, you better be prepared. And I learned that a couple times through the heart. Well, like like sending out an email, and I know your husband, and I'm like, hey, I sent Penny an email, and he's like, okay, yeah, she's got it. And I started learning, like, okay, categorize. She's going to go through her emails. She's got a process for it. I probably sent it as a red, and I was short, and I was too brief, didn't give enough information. Because with the blue, a blue will ask you a question, and then they want to know more. And then they want to know a little more.
Elaborate. Keyword.
Elaborate.
Expand.
Well, that would mean you're a good listener, right? You got to be a good listener if you want to hear more.
I do. Yeah, I do consider myself a good listener. I am a good listener, but that doesn't mean everybody else is.
Yeah.
And I have to, like you say, and like I wrote, I have to meet them where they are. And we have to create and develop that relationship on how we're going to communicate and be successful at that. And everybody's different.
Yeah.
I come from an office where I have so many different temperaments, personalities, and I can't bucket everyone in the same bucket. Everybody's kind of an individual, and I got to meet them where they are and treat them as individuals. And that it just makes for a happier workplace.
Yeah, which everybody wants that. I would.
I do.
And listening to you talk, I don't think you've been doing this for just 1 or 2 years. How long has the Auction Academy been going on?
Oh, we're coming up on our 14th year.
Jeez.
Coming up on our 14th year. We're super excited, very proud of that. Just entering the 14th year. We're currently at the end of our 8th class group. And like I said, it is a 2-year commitment. So each class goes to a 2-year course. We've already enrolled, like we talked. Class 9 will start in February. Class 8 will graduate March at the CAR conference. So there's going to be a little overlap. Bringing in one before I send out the other.
Have you ever done that before?
Yeah, we have actually. Okay. Yeah. Actually, back in the day before I took over, I was always part of Auction Academy, but the first couple classes was behind the scenes. But they actually had concurrent classes. Like class 1 got through maybe a year and a half, and then class 2 started. So they actually had some overlap and a session together. So that was, what I understand, pretty successful. It just got really big. Classes were much smaller back then, but it was still a lot of people. Yeah.
That's good. I believe when I first met you, I was speaking about Safety Sam in Nashville in a hotel room, and it was one of the first Auction Academies, and there may have been, I'm going to say 12 or 14. And now you're throwing numbers out. What is it? 24, 28, 36, 45. It's like, holy. So it's grown a little bit. And I had a student, not in the first one, I believe it was either class 2 or 3, Melissa Johns.
Okay. Yes.
She was from my team.
She was great.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we gave her some groundwork. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And that's what I like to say, because I know Eric Othwart with Carolina Auto Auction just finished his year under NAAA president. And we were so proud because he was part of class 2, a graduate. So he was an alumni. And so that was my claim to fame for a whole year. Listen, I didn't get him the NAAA presidency, but we were definitely part of his journey. Melissa.
I was just going to ask that because I just came from the luncheon where we had the women in retail, remarketing, collections, all that.
Yeah.
And there was a gal that walked across the stage that got an award that I hired. And so when you see that happen and you see it come full of fruition and how much they've grown from the day you hired them, well, one of them inside you're going, yes, I made the right choice a long time ago. Where that leads me to, and you just kind of touched on, but try to dig a little deeper, is long-term success out of your program. It's been 14 years. Are you seeing it?
Absolutely. You mean within the program or the students, the alumni?
Both.
Absolutely. Anytime that I'm aware of, and I really do try to follow our students throughout their careers, because that's one of the things when they graduate and I'm on that stage, I announce to the entire industry, these are the leaders to watch their careers. Keep your eye out for them. So I practice what I preach, and I do that as well. And so we see lots of promotions, we see lots of movements, which are better positions, better companies, compared to what their measurement is. But yeah, absolutely. Nothing but growth and success for the students, and then also for the program. We've got lots of interest, not only for students to attend, but sponsors that want to step in and help out. Auctions, I'm not sure if I made my full point earlier, but one of our best problems we have right now are independent auctions opening their doors saying, hey, come over here. We want a tour. We want to host, and we're just unable to make it happen. We only travel 8 times, so we're unable to make it happen all the time. But that's a great problem to have.
Yeah, that was a really great problem to have.
Yeah.
I've actually seen that happen in real life, by the way. We were at a conference somewhere, and I swear some auction person was begging you to please do a class at their auction. And you're like, I'm sorry, we can't. And it was like, wow, that is real.
It's real.
A cool problem.
It is, and it's so hard to turn somebody down. So you have to try to find other creative ways on how they can get involved and be engaged, because we want to open that door and allow a space for everybody. Yeah,
wow.
Even if they're not a student.
That's good.
So I think that says a couple of things about your program. One is how valuable it is, that people want to be a part of it, and then the other thing is they're like clamoring just to host you. It creates a headache, but it also leaves the other piece. It's like, hey, I'm over here, I'm willing to help. Which is the second piece I want to say is this industry is full of people that are trying to give back to the community. We'll call it the auction community, the auto remarketing community, and just say, hey, I was young once, somebody who mentored me, and now you've got a whole program of just mentoring people.
That's it. I think that's one of the things I'm so inspired by. Students aside, I sit in those classes, no matter how large or small, and I'm inspired by those students who just show up. They're committed, they're there, they have left their families, they left their auctions, their workplaces, their homes, their personal life for 2, 3, 4 days to go on the road and follow our structure, and they show up without fail every single time. I have almost perfect attendance at every session, absolutely almost perfect attendance. In addition to that, what inspires me is the industry. We call out to these subject matter experts or people we need to get in front of the students, and they absolutely jump at it. Absolutely. This is what they do. They're volunteering their time, their energy, their effort, their expertise. These are people that have careers that span from, maybe fresh 5 years into more senior 30 years. They have successes, they've got failures, they've got heartaches, heartburn, all these good things. And they condense that into 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45, however long their segment is. And they just give that information away for free. They're giving back to these students who are there to learn not only for themselves and to better themselves and their auctions or companies, but to better our industry. It is a full-on love fest. It really is. The industry pours into these students. And then we also, at the end of the 2 years, we impress on the students, okay, now that you've had 2 years of people and industry pouring into you, it's time for you to have some self-reflection. How can you give back and start pouring back into the industry? We go through all the associations, committees, volunteer opportunities, and we say, please put in some work, find what works for you, and start to give back, participate, kick in. So.
Smart. I like it.
You get it. What you give away, you get in return, right, Ty? That's your line.
Yeah. Good job.
Yeah.
What you give away is what you keep.
Yep. So as we wind down, I want to ask you a question. And you mentioned this earlier. You said, this is for future leaders and people that have been designated leaders. But I'm going to challenge you. I want to go one step back farther and say, all right, my podcast kind of goes after all managers. We want to help them all. Mm-hmm. So what advice would you give a manager listening to this podcast to say, hey, here's where to start. Here's what do you do first? What's the first thing to get on the track to becoming that next leader so that at some point in time they could be part of Auction Academy?
Well, and let me correct myself. We're not just doing next gen. I definitely want to coin the term current gen. There's lots of us currently in this space that need refreshers and or just need tools because they weren't given day one. Back to your very first point when we started. Yep. This program is open for anybody. No matter where you are in your journey or in your career, there's a place for you in Auction Academy. But my counsel, my advice for leaders, no matter where you are, just starting or wanting a refresher, how you start is just to be intentional. Be intentional, show up for your people, do what you say you're going to do, follow through, meet them where they're at, like we've already addressed. Be patient and be self-aware. When you walk in, it's balance. You don't always have to prove that you're the smartest one in the room, especially if you're a leader. Okay, you got the job for a reason, we know it, but you don't have to soak up all the oxygen. You don't have to be the loudest. To me, I stay away from the people that are the loudest. I'm like, okay, yeah, you have something to prove, I have nothing to receive from this. This isn't a healthy conversation. But, it's a balance. You have to lead, but you also have to step back. Let the people you hire do their job.
Yeah.
Bingo. That is my favorite line. Let the people you hire do their job.
That's it.
And the other thing you said is ego. You just touched on it. You got to be heard. My definition of ego is waking up in the morning, putting both feet on the floor, walking through the day, thinking that what you have to give to the world is exactly what they need. That is like egotistical. Now, let's contrast this with hope. I believe that if you're working in the right organization, right environment, and you have the right leaders, hope is waking up in the morning, putting both feet on the floor, running to work, knowing that today's going to be better than yesterday. They start out so similar, but if you don't have the right mindset, by the time you get to work, you can either be the egotistical maniac or you can be the hopeful, let's go get something done employee.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. My husband, Giles, who's also in the industry and participates and contributes to Auction Academy, he is huge on you have choice. You have choices every day. You have choice how to respond. You have choice in your mood. Take control when you have it. Because there's a lot that we don't have control over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree.
Control the things you can control.
Yeah.
Smart. I like Giles. Tell Giles I said hi.
I will. Thank you. I'll tell him.
He's one of my favorites, by the way. I really like Giles.
Same.
Yeah.
He's one of
He's
my
always so
favorites.
sharp. The way he's just like, I love the way he dresses and everything. It's cool.
Do you have any influence over that?
I really don't. He comes from a line of long, strong, independent women, so he knows where it's at. He knows what's up. That's why he's attracted to me.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Meet Me at the Gate. I hope the conversation has helped to fuel your drive and equip you with insights to steer your team towards success. Remember, the road to success is always under construction. And until next time, keep your engines revving and your gas tanks full.